Dr. Megan Foster was working a long Christmas shift in the emergency room, and the night refused to slow down. The waiting room stayed packed, the phones kept ringing, and every new patient carried another problem that could not wait. Between charts and alarms, Megan checked her phone, expecting a cheerful update from her parents' house, something that showed her daughter was surrounded by family. Instead, a short message from 16-year-old Riley Foster appeared, and Megan felt her stomach drop. Riley said Janice Whitman and Gordon Whitman told her there was no space for her at dinner and no bed for her to sleep in. Riley said Brianna Whitman acted like it was normal, like Riley should simply disappear so everyone else could relax. Riley said she was getting in the car and driving home. Megan called her mother right away, and there was no answer. She called her father, and the call rang until it stopped. She called Brianna, and the reply was quick and sharp, telling her to stop making everything into a crisis. Megan forced herself to keep moving, because she still had patients in front of her, and she could not fall apart in the middle of triage. Still, her mind stayed on the road, on the dark highway, on Riley gripping the wheel with new driver fear hiding behind a brave face. Riley had been excited for days, wrapping gifts, baking cookies, and writing a careful card for Gordon, because she still hoped kindness would matter. Megan had trusted her parents when they promised they would take care of Riley while Megan worked the holiday, and she hated herself for how easy that trust had been. When her shift finally ended, the sky was turning gray, and the city looked washed out. Megan drove home with her hands tight on the steering wheel, not rehearsing an argument anymore, but something colder and clearer than words. Riley was on the couch, still wearing her jacket, shoes still on, the television silent. A paper plate sat nearby with cold food she barely touched. She tried to smile, but her eyes were swollen, and her voice sounded smaller than it should have. Megan sat beside her, pulled her close, and told her she did nothing wrong. She held her until Riley fell asleep. Then Megan stood alone in the kitchen, listening to the quiet, and she made a decision that would change everything. Erin Hayes did not sleep. Not really. She only sat in the kitchen and listened. The house felt too quiet, and every small sound carried weight. Mia Hayes slept on the couch with her coat still on, like she might need to leave again. Erin watched her daughter breathe, and she replayed the message in her head, over and over, until it stopped feeling like shock and started feeling like proof. Linda Mercer and Frank Mercer had not simply made a mistake. They had made a choice, and they had done it with ease. Erin opened her laptop, and she pulled up the files she kept for work and life. She found the mortgage statements, the tax records, the insurance, the repairs, the payments that had come from her account for years. The house Linda and Frank lived in was not a family gift. It was Erin property, paid for, with Erin hours, and signed under Erin name. Erin remembered how it started, a soft request after a hard year, a promise that it would be temporary, a story about gratitude and family. Erin remembered how the temporary things stretched, and how every month came with another need, another bill, another reason she should not push back. She remembered how Tessa Mercer used that house like a stage, showing up with Logan Mercer, acting like Erin owed them comfort. Erin thought of Mia at 16, trying to be polite, trying to belong, trying to earn kindness that should have been free. Erin felt something settle into place, a calm that came from clarity. She did not plan a dramatic speech. She did not plan revenge. She planned protection. When the sun rose, Erin made coffee. Then she woke Mia gently and asked her to sit at the table. Erin told her that what happened was wrong, and it would not happen again. Erin told her she did not have to chase anyone, and she did not have to prove her worth. Mia nodded, eyes down, and Erin saw how used she was to being the easy one. Erin reached across the table and held her hand, steady and warm. Then Erin made a list. Not a wish, not a threat, a list of steps. She would talk to a lawyer. She would follow the rules. She would end the arrangement. She would take back her home, and she would take back her daughter's peace, even if her family screamed. On the next business day, Erin Hayes met with an attorney after her hospital shift. She brought a folder that felt heavier than paper, because it carried years of being reasonable. The attorney reviewed the deed, the payments, and the records, then explained the process in plain terms. Aaron could give Linda Mercer and Frank Mercer formal notice, and if they refused to leave, Aaron could proceed through the court. Aaron listened closely, and she asked careful questions because she refused to be sloppy. She did not want chaos. She wanted a clean line, drawn in the right place. When Aaron returned home, Mia Hayes was doing homework at the kitchen table. Aaron saw her daughter glance up, searching Aaron's face for bad news. Aaron sat beside her and spoke slowly, making each word simple and true. Aaron said she had a plan, and the plan would keep them safe. Aaron said no one would be allowed to push Mia out again, not for a holiday, not for a dinner, not for any reason. Mia swallowed hard, then asked if Grandma would be angry. Aaron said, yes. Grandma would be angry because Grandma was used to control. Aaron said anger was not a reason to surrender. That evening, Aaron prepared the notice letter with the attorney guidance, then printed it and placed it in a clean envelope. Aaron did not add extra words. She did not add insults. She did not add emotion. She kept it formal, and she kept it firm. The next morning, Aaron drove to the house and left the envelope according to the rules, then took a photo for her records. She did not go inside, and she did not ask permission. She drove away with both hands steady on the wheel, feeling the strange relief of doing what should have been done long ago. Later, Linda called and left a message full of outrage. Frank sent a text full of guilt, and Tessa called with a voice that tried to sound amused, like it was all a silly misunderstanding. Aaron did not answer. Aaron saved everything, documented everything, and followed the timeline. She also called the utility companies, not to punish anyone, but to ensure every account was in the correct name and responsibility was clear. Aaron would not keep paying for a house where her daughter was treated like a guest who could be removed. Aaron would not keep funding disrespect wrapped in the word family. The reaction came fast, like a storm that had been waiting. Linda Mercer arrived at Aaron Hayes' front door without warning, pounding hard enough to rattle the frame. Frank Mercer stood behind her with a tight face, and Tessa Mercer lingered near the walkway, scrolling on her phone as if the scene was entertainment. Aaron stepped outside and closed the door behind her, keeping Mia Hayes out of view. Linda demanded to know what Aaron thought she was doing. Accusing Aaron of cruelty, accusing Aaron of betrayal. Aaron spoke in an even tone, and she said the living arrangement was ending, and the notice was legal, and the timeline would be followed. Linda tried to switch tactics, crying about age and health, then snapping back into anger when Aaron did not soften. Frank talked about everything he had done for Aaron, listing old favors like receipts. Aaron said those favors did not buy the right to harm her child. Tessa stepped forward and called Aaron selfish, then claimed Mia had been rude, then claimed Mia was too sensitive. Aaron said Mia was a child, and Mia deserved basic respect, especially on Christmas. That was when Linda shouted that there had been no room, and that Logan Mercer needed space because Logan had big opportunities. Tessa jumped in, saying Logan had been accepted to a science camp, and the deposit was due soon, and Aaron should still pay, because family helps family. Aaron stared at her sister and felt the final thread snap. Aaron said no, clearly, with no apology. Aaron said she would not fund Logan Future while Mia sat alone with cold food. Aaron said the money stops, and the house returns, and the boundary stays. Linda called Aaron ungrateful, and Frank called Aaron heartless, and Tessa called Aaron dramatic. Aaron did not argue, because arguing would imply there was a debate. Aaron repeated the same sentence, slow and steady, until it was unmistakable. Then Aaron ended the conversation and went back inside, locking the door. Mia was waiting in the hallway, pale and tense. Aaron walked to her daughter and placed both hands on her shoulders, grounding her. Aaron said, "This is what protection looks like, and you are not alone, not anymore." Aaron Hayes did not respond to the shouting. She responded to the paperwork, and she kept everything. She saved every voicemail, every text, every email, and every sudden visit. She wrote down dates, times, and what was said. Then she placed it all in one folder. At work, she moved through her shift like a machine, calm on the outside, tight on the inside. At home, she watched Mia Hayes closely, noticing how her daughter flinched at doorbells and how she listened for footsteps. Erin sat with Mia at the kitchen table each evening and asked simple questions, then waited for honest answers. Mia admitted she felt foolish for caring, and embarrassed for crying, and guilty for causing trouble. Erin told her, slowly and clearly, that none of it was her fault. Erin explained that Linda Mercer and Frank Mercer had built a pattern, and Mia had been the easiest target. Erin said that kindness is not a debt, and family is not a license to hurt you. When Linda called again, Erin let it go to voicemail. Linda demanded a meeting, then demanded money, then demanded Erin apologize. Frank sounded softer, but his words still tried to push responsibility onto Erin, as if Mia Payne was an inconvenience. Tessa Mercer left a message that blamed Mia, calling her difficult, calling her ungrateful, then pivoting to Logan Mercer and his science camp deposit again. Erin listened once, then stopped. She forwarded copies to her attorney and followed the timeline without deviation. Erin also updated the utility accounts and removed her payment methods, leaving only what the law required her to maintain. She did not do it to punish, she did it to stop enabling. In the middle of all this, Erin made one choice that mattered more than documents. She booked a session with a counselor for Mia, and she promised to go too. Mia did not look convinced, but she agreed. That night, Erin found Mia staring at her phone, reading old family photos. Erin sat beside her and said those pictures were real moments, but they were not the full story. Erin said they would build something better, something steady, something safe. Mia leaned into her shoulder, and for the first time since Christmas, she let herself breathe. The notice period passed, and Linda Mercer and Frank Mercer did not leave. They acted offended by the idea of consequences, as if refusing to move could rewrite reality. Erin Hayes followed her attorney's direction and filed the next step through the court. The process was slow, but it was clear, and Erin preferred clear over loud. Linda began telling relatives that Erin was cruel and that Erin abandoned her parents. Messages arrived from cousins and distant aunts, asking Erin to reconsider. Erin replied only once to each person, in plain language, then she stopped. She said her daughter was turned away on Christmas, and she would not ignore that. She said the house belonged to her, and the arrangement had ended. She did not argue about feelings, because feelings had been used to trap her for years. One afternoon, Erin returned from work and found a note taped to her door, full of insults and threats. There were no names, but Erin recognized the tone. She photographed it, saved it, and called the non-emergency line for guidance. The officer advised her to document and to call if anyone tried to enter. Erin installed a camera, not because she wanted drama, but because she wanted proof. Mia Hayes asked if they were in danger, and Erin told her the truth. Erin said they were safe, but they needed boundaries that could be enforced. On the court date, Erin sat with her attorney and watched Linda and Frank try to perform innocence. They claimed they had nowhere to go, and they had been mistreated. Erin presented the deed, the payment history, and the notice records. The judge focused on facts, not stories, and set a move-out deadline. Outside the courthouse, Tessa Mercer hissed that Erin was ruining the family. Erin answered with one sentence, and she did not raise her voice. Erin said the family was ruined the moment they shut Mia out. At home that night, Erin cooked dinner, and she let Mia choose the music. It was simple, and it was ordinary, and it felt like healing. Erin understood something then. Peace does not arrive by accident. Peace is built, decision by decision, even when people hate you for it. On the final day of the deadline, Erin Hayes drove to the house in the morning, and she brought a locksmith, as advised by her attorney. She stayed calm, and she stayed professional, because she refused to give Linda Mercer a scene to feed on. Linda opened the door with a stiff smile, acting like she was the victim, acting like Aaron was a stranger. Frank Mercer carried boxes to a car without speaking, his shoulders heavy with resentment. Tessa Mercer arrived late and complained loudly about how unfair everything was. She also complained about Logan Mercer, about his missed science camp, about how Aaron had crushed his future. Aaron did not take the bait. Aaron looked around the living room and saw years of her money turned into comfort for people who did not protect her child. She felt anger, but it was clean anger, the kind that sharpens your spine. The locksmith changed the locks after Linda and Frank left, and Aaron collected the keys. She walked through each room, checking for damage, taking photos, making notes. She found Mia old drawings in a drawer, folded and forgotten, and her throat tightened. She put them in her bag and took them home. On the drive back, Aaron noticed her hands were not shaking. She felt tired, but lighter, like she had put down something she was never meant to carry. That evening, Mia Hayes asked what happens now. Aaron said now we rebuild slowly and on purpose. Aaron said they would sell the house or rent it later, but first they would breathe. Mia nodded, then surprised Aaron by asking if they could decorate their own home for the next holiday. Just the two of them, with lights and cookies and movies. Aaron said yes, and she meant it. Later, as Mia went to bed, Aaron listened to the quiet again, but this time, the quiet did not feel empty. It felt safe. Aaron understood that love is not proven by suffering. Love is proven by protection. In the weeks after the move out, Aaron Hayes kept life simple, and she kept it quiet. Mia Hayes went to school, came home, and began to smile again, in small, careful ways. Then the messages started, softer than before, but still loaded with hooks. Linda Mercer left voicemails that sounded sad, not angry, and Frank Mercer sent notes about memories and how family should heal. Tessa Mercer tried a different angle. She sent photos of Logan Mercer looking disappointed, and she hinted that Aaron could make things right with one payment. Aaron did not respond, because she recognized the pattern: first cruelty, then guilt, then bargaining. Aaron took Mia to therapy every week, and she went too, because she wanted Mia to see that adults can change. Mia admitted she still missed the idea of grandparents, even if the reality hurt. Aaron told her it was normal to grieve what should have been. Aaron also set a rule: there would be no surprise visits, no private talks, and no contact that went around Aaron to reach Mia. One afternoon, Linda showed up at Mia's school, trying to sign her out early. The office called Aaron because Aaron had already updated the contact list. Aaron arrived and saw Linda standing there, smiling like nothing happened. Aaron asked the staff to keep Mia inside. Then Aaron faced her mother with calm eyes. Aaron said Linda was not authorized, and Linda needed to leave now. Linda tried to cry, saying she only wanted to talk, and she missed her granddaughter. Aaron said missing someone does not erase what you did. Aaron said if Linda wanted contact, she could speak through Aaron, and only after trust was rebuilt. Linda stormed out, and Frank called later, blaming Aaron for embarrassing them. Aaron documented everything, and she sent the record to her attorney, not because she wanted another fight, but because she wanted safety. That night, Mia asked if Aaron felt guilty. Aaron answered slowly, and she said guilt is useful only when it changes behavior. Aaron said she would not trade Mia peace for anyone comfort. Mia nodded, and the knot in her shoulders loosened a little, like she believed it. Spring arrived, and with it came a new kind of quiet, the kind that feels earned. Aaron Hayes focused on work, on sleep, and on dinners that did not include tension. Mia Hayes joined a school club, made a new friend, and started talking about the future again. Then a large envelope appeared in Aaron's mailbox, with Linda's handwriting on the front. Aaron opened it carefully, expecting another demand. But it was a letter filled with apologies that sounded polished. Linda wrote that she had been stressed, that she did not mean to hurt Mia, and that she wanted a fresh start. Frank added a short note, asking Aaron to meet for coffee just once, to clear the air. Tessa Mercer texted the same day, saying Aaron was finally being reasonable, and that Logan Mercer deserved help again. Erin read everything twice. Then she set it down. She talked to Mia at the kitchen table, and she asked what Mia wanted, without pressure. Mia hesitated, then said she did not trust them, but she wished they could be normal. Erin said normal is built from accountability, not from words on paper. Erin offered one option, a supervised meeting in a public place, with clear rules, and one chance to show change. Mia agreed to try, as long as Erin stayed beside her. At the cafe, Linda arrived with a bright smile, and Frank followed, quiet and stiff. Within minutes, Linda began rewriting history, saying it was all a misunderstanding, and Mia had taken things too personally. Erin held up her hand, and she stopped the drift. Erin said, "The truth is simple. Mia was turned away on Christmas, and it was cruel." Erin said if Linda could not say that clearly, then there was nothing to rebuild. Linda blinked, then looked offended, then looked at Mia and said, "Well, you know how your aunt is." Tessa was not even there, but her shadow filled the conversation. Erin saw Mia's shoulders tighten, and Erin ended the meeting. Erin stood, paid for their drinks anyway, and said contact would pause again. Outside, Mia started to cry. Not loud, not dramatic, just tired tears. Erin pulled her close and said, "You were brave, and you learned something important." Erin said a boundary is not punishment. It is protection, and it stays in place until respect appears. By the time the next holiday season approached, Erin Hayes felt like a different person, not harder, just clearer. The house was decorated with simple lights, and Mia Hayes helped without flinching. They made cookies on a Saturday, and they watched movies on the couch, and nobody had to earn a seat at the table. Erin received one last message from Frank Mercer, asking again for a second chance, and promising he would handle Linda and Tessa. Erin replied with one line, written calmly, saying any future contact depends on consistent accountability and respect for Mia over time. Erin did not argue, and she did not explain further. She understood that people who truly change do not demand quick forgiveness. On Christmas morning, Erin and Mia opened gifts and laughed at a silly mug and took a walk in the cold air. Mia said she still felt sad sometimes because family stories were everywhere, in school, in movies, in friends' houses. Erin said sadness can exist beside peace, and it does not mean you made the wrong choice. Later that day, Mia surprised Erin by saying she wanted to volunteer next year, maybe at a shelter, so she could help someone else feel less alone. Erin felt her throat tighten, and she told Mia she was proud of her for turning pain into purpose. That night, Erin looked at her daughter across the table, and she realized the message of the story was not about revenge. It was about a mother choosing her child when comfort and tradition tried to push the child aside. It was about refusing to fund disrespect and refusing to call cruelty a misunderstanding. Erin knew Linda Mercer and Gordon Mercer would tell their own version forever, and Tessa Mercer would keep blaming others for consequences. Erin accepted that. Erin had something better, a home where Mia could breathe, a home where love was not conditional, and a future built on choices that protected the innocent.